The ability of giving ourselves totally, while it was empowered by God's divine life, was still our own choice. Thus, we had the ability to choose not to give our whole selves to God. Tempted with the doubt that God was really telling the truth, that He perhaps did not desire to give them His divine life, our first parents made the active choice to disobey God, to refuse to offer themselves back to Him. In doing this, they rejected the gift of God's divine life, the source of their ability to give of themselves. This original sin separated them from God's divine life. They no longer had the ability to love with a total gift of self. They had lost the freedom to be able to choose the greatest good for themselves and each other. What is worse is that their condition was inherited by the rest of mankind. They could not pass on what they did not have. Instead of being able to live in God's presence, sin enacted great harm upon them and us. This loss of God's life was a radical spiritual death, affecting them to the extent of leading them to the decay of physical death. To reject God's love, to reject the only possible source of life, was to make us vulnerable to death. Death was foreign to us. We are meant to live. We are meant for life. Even our rejection of God's life and our subsequent distortion could not take away this truth. Why else is physical death so painful for us if we are not made for life? Why do we feel like we are internally contradictory if not for the effects of this sin, the loss of life? It is the bad news that we experience daily. We are still made to receive God's divine life. This plan from the beginning did not change. But here is the problem. Man could do nothing to turn back what was done. God certainly wants to accept us back, but having lost the original gift of His life, we no longer have what is needed to be able to live in God's presence. We don't have the capacity of receiving His total gift of love. What is more, there was nothing man could do to remedy the situation. In justice, man's offense against God, an infinite offense, since God is infinite, required an infinite act of restitution, an infinite perfect offering of man back to God. Yet this is precisely what we cannot do. We are not infinite, nor do we have the ability to love in the perfect way needed. We were lost in our sin, lost to death. We could do nothing. It is good to recognize our utter limitation, to admit to how disordered we really are. Sin is indeed real. Yet we cannot simply dwell unceasingly on ourselves in this condition. We must know that if God really is who He claims to be, He will be working to bring us back to what He originally meant us for. As difficult as it is, we must turn to Him to see what it is that He will do. Such is the drama of the history of man that will begin to unfold in the coming audiences.